Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my recap of episode 2 of She's Gotta Have It. Nola's got a cute new friend, Shemeka. She didn't show up in the film version of the story. I'm really awesomely proud and surprised to see that she's Caribbean, she's Trini. You would watch TV shows of Brooklyn, you would think there were no black people, but you would also think that there are no Caribbean people. Brooklyn has the largest Caribbean community outside of the Caribbean. Shemeka's really cute. Despite her pretty face, despite her cute little shape, she has issues with her hair and her tush. It's a common issue with a lot of black women. Like, you hear women going natural and they have to learn to love their hair. It takes a reprogramming to embrace an unstraight, unpermed vision of beauty. There's a lot of politics around black women's hair, but there's a lot of politics of black women's asses that are not talked about enough. A large portion of black women's beauty is based on the size of their ass. It's pretty high up there with hair. Like, you could be a really gorgeous black woman, but if you don't have an ass, you're probably going to feel a little insecure about it. So Shemeka is dancing in Nola's kitchen while Nola paints a portrait of her. Shemeka has made 2 requests to Nola of this painting that she's agreed to pose for. She's like, I can't get my weave done till next week, so if you could portray me with some long silky hair and a nice big juicy ass, that would be great for me. Nola thinks Shemeka is beautiful as is, which she is. She questions Shemeka about the insecurity she has about her lower portion. They go back and forth a little bit, and eventually Nola just backs down and she's like, yo, love you from the womb to the tomb, like, let's not do this. Another important part of their conversation is Nola has told her about her assault. Apparently it's left her bruised physically as well as emotionally. Shemeka asks her, like, if you told the guys in your life. So Nola, come to find out, hadn't shared that with any of the guys, so she agrees to do so. Here's a surprise I didn't see coming. Fat Joseph Cartagena, as he's referred to in the credits. I was like looking at the screen and I was like, is that Fat Joe? It is. Fat Joe appears to be the owner of a strip club called the Hot and Trot. He shows up to work and he sees Nola has plastered her anti-sexual harassment campaign all over the place. He don't know what it is. He ain't got no interest in knowing what it is. He not trying to learn. He just trying to get it off his door so he could go into his job and begin his day working with the ladies who make the money taking their clothes off. Does Fat Joe have a prominent acting career that I don't know about? Because this dude is hilarious. Turns out Shemeka works at the Hot and Trot. She is a waitress. She is not a dancer because while she may have some hot, she doesn't have any trot. They're playing Cody Chestnut. These music selections are everything. Who is doing the music? Here we are with the ladies dancing provocatively. Spike Lee, like, he loves to throw a good dance sequence into something. There's obviously a commentary here about the way we praise women who shake it fast and bend it over and back it up. The more salacious the women get, the money pours. It's not even one man making it rain. It's like the entire club is throwing money onto the women. Shemeka watches the girls dance and she watches the money fly and she looks at it all wistfully. Like, she wants the attention. She wants the praise. She wants to feel beautiful. But she also wants the money. Like, she has a daughter. She's a single mom. After the dance, she goes to Joe and she's like, can I get some money to get a bigger ass? He brushes her off and he was like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you want a bigger ass? Like, you're beautiful. You're great. Mars swings by to see Nola. He's just trying to go visit a friend in her brownstone. And the white lady who lives next door is like, what are you doing here? Well, what are you doing here? Mars lives in Fort Greene Projects. That actually really happens. That's not like, oh, we're going to play something up for TV. Some white people absolutely trip. Like, they move into the neighborhood and think they've lived there all their life. That's why when the girl called it hipster imperialism, like, you go somewhere, plant your flag and act like it's a brand new place that just got discovered because you just arrived. Accurate. So Mars is in the house and he notices Nola's street campaign. She tells him about what happened with the attacker who left her bruised. He's outraged. It's like the first time he's ever heard of anyone harassing a woman or assaulting a woman in the street. And Nola's like, but you do that, right? Like, you harass women in the street. And Mars is like, oh, I might have done it like once or twice or like a dozen times. Random women in the street are just that. You don't ever see them as like someone's mother, someone's child, someone's daughter. But when something happens to a woman that a man cares about, it's like the first time he's ever heard this issue. Street harassment, oh my goodness, people are harassing women in the street and now it's a national emergency. Mars, I think he's well-intentioned. Nola's like, I got assaulted. And Mars was like, well, what were you doing out that late alone? Wait, what? What difference does it make? I was outside and some person ran up on me and bruised me. Some person called me a bitch. Some person told me my pussy stank. Like, is being outside asking for that to happen? Mars does have a sensitive moment. He does ask her, are you okay? And he does apologize for what happened to her. And he does show genuine, I think, concern. Mars is like, oh, you got to come to my sister. Like, she does Yoruba. She'll, you know, get your bad juju off. I like this dude. In the same way that the TV series is fleshing out Nola so much more, they're fleshing out the guys a whole lot more too. Dude is a great actor. He's hilarious. Greer, I really do not like that dude. He was like, I'm going to teach you Taekwondo. Jamie's like, oh my God, you have to call the police. Oh, and then Mars gives her dog Mace to protect herself because apparently no woman has ever thought to carry Mace. Yeah, guys, we're aware that Mace exists. So thanks for mansplaining and trying to help on the back end. It would be much more helpful if you talked to your boys on the front end and held other men accountable for how they treat women. That would actually be really helpful in stopping street harassment and assaults and rape culture and rape in general. Try that, because that's a method that you seem reluctant to try. But you tried everything else but that, and it might actually be the thing that can work. Nola goes to see her parents, and I love this scene. One, because you don't see a lot of depictions of only kids, but her parents are Black artists who own a place in Fort Greene. They encourage their child to be an artist. It's a rare Black parent that's like, yeah, go be an artist. All the Black parents I know are like, what you mean you're gonna be an artist? Like, that's a hobby. So I love that you have like these Black parents who are artists encouraging their daughter to be an artist. And also, it's like Jolie. She was Nola's former roommate in the original She's Gotta Have It. Papo's an interesting character. He is a homeless man that hangs outside Nola's brownstone. He often perches on the stoop of the brownstone next to Nola's. I think it's a great commentary on displacement. I think it's also a great commentary on mental illness, specifically among Black men, specifically among veterans, but also a commentary on homelessness. Mental illness among the homeless population in New York is a really serious, under-addressed issue. Papo is a former classmate of Nola's. He's a really nice guy. Papo doesn't bother anyone. He's a fixture in the neighborhood. Everyone knows him, except the new gentrifiers. Papo hangs out on this lady's stoop. She's a pain in the ass. And I get it. Like, if I just paid like $1.5 million for a brownstone, I would be like, you know what? I don't want anyone hanging out on my stoop either. But it's also one of those things, like, you move into a neighborhood because you like the feeling and the energy of the neighborhood, but then you get there and you want to get rid of everything that makes it energetic and cultural. Like, Papo grew up there. And he says later in the series, he's like, yo, I'm from here. Like, you want me to go where? This is my home. Spike Lee often has a character that's a little offbeat, who gets to say that things that everyone else in quote unquote polite society doesn't say, but they're on the fringes of society, so they're not held to the rules and the respectability, and Papo can be that. Nola's still working on her street campaign. As she's putting one of the posters up, this white guy walks up and he's actually curious about what she's doing, but she turns around and sprays him with the dog mace that Mars had given her. It's played as a very comedic scene, but I also think it says a lot about how scared Nola is. Later, she's talking about it with her girls, and one of them was like, oh, but didn't it feel great to empower and fight back? And she was like, no, I actually feel bad that I sprayed a total stranger with mace. Like, Nola's really scarred by that experience. Jamie's still sniffing around. I guess he's at home laying on the couch and he's calling Nola, and Nola has no time because she's working on her piece, which I love because her life in this version doesn't revolve solely around her men. Sir, if you're lonely, you have a whole wife. Where is your whole wife? Jamie's wife does pop up. It took me a minute to realize she was Black. She comes in the house. There's open hostility between them. I see why he's seeking affection elsewhere. But if it's to this point, y'all just need to call it a wrap. Because y'all look miserable. See some separation. And y'all need to either work on making it work or work on dissolving it. Your wife went upstairs. I noticed that she went to the back of the house. It appears that y'all are not staying in the same room. So I see why Jamie wants to step out. But sir, you need to handle your legal business and personal affairs because you're being sloppy and messy. The next day, it seems that Nola is taking an African dance class. Her little white friend is there. They treat this little white friend the same way that white shows treat black girls. They'll put her in a scene, they'll give her 2 lines, and they'll kick her right out and get right to the action. That is revenge. After the white friend leaves, Nola and her 2 black friends get into a conversation about ass. Clorinda is she's like Charlotte meets Miranda, has a lot of opinions, doesn't seem to notice when she's offending people. So the girls are sitting there and they see this bus go by, and it's an advertisement for this show called Asked. The goal of the show is to pay for women to enlarge their asses. Clorinda goes on this rant and she was like, we did this whole feminist movement. What is the point of freeing our bodies if all we're going to do is cut them up to attract the male gaze? She's like, what would Michelle Obama do? Obviously, Shemeka feels a way about this. I think Michelle Obama is the bee's knees. She's the greatest thing since the cliched sliced bread. But every woman does not want to be Michelle Obama, and that's okay. I think sometimes we shame women for wanting to be attractive or wanting to be attractive to men. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think to be a feminist, you have to be frumpy or undesirable or not pretty. It's okay to want to feel beautiful. It's okay to want to feel that men are attracted to you. And I also think it's okay to want to have a fat ass and go buy one if that's what you want to have. Feminism is not about telling women like this is the box you must fit into. Feminism is about choices. And if you choose to put whatever in your ass because you want it to look bigger, I mean, all I say to you is go to a reputable place to get it done. Having a botched ass is not cute, but that's not how Clorinda feels. And she really offends Shemeka, who gets a little huffy, and she's like, okay, I'm going to pick up my daughter, bye. So Clorinda is doing a art project. She invites Nola to be one of 4 artists that are going to display their art at this gallery opening that she's trying to put together. They go take this tour of a rundown building that Clorinda is going to transform. While they're there, a janitor comes and he barks on them about what they're doing there, and Nola claps back. She apologizes to Clorinda afterward, and she's like, you know what? I think I still have some residual anger from the assault. Clorinda's like, you know what? It happens, but I think maybe you should talk to somebody. Have you considered a therapist? And Nola's like, I don't really do the therapy thing. Really? I feel like everybody in Brooklyn does the therapy thing. She decides to take Mars up on his sister. The sister gives her a reading. She was like, I feel like there's a dark cloud over you. She tells Nola that she sees that something is haunting her work, that it feels like someone is following her at night. So obviously that's about the assault. And Nola has said none of this to her. She was like, I'm not really sure I believe. And the sister was like, okay, that's great. My job is not to convince you. I've told you what the reading says, and you can go live your life and you'll see how it plays out. In the episode, Mars is taking a ride. He's doing his deliveries. He sees something that like startles him. He gets off his bike and he walks up to it and he's like, oh, hell to the nah. And I was like, oh, get your Whitney on. Rest in peace, Nippy. Okay. But we don't get to see what it is that he's so upset about until next episode. For those of you who are tuning in for the whole recap series, thank you very much. Happy to have you. Number 3 will be up soon. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And I think that's everything. So I'll see you soon.